What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey. Of course, this is your host, Trey, and today we're going to talk about this NFL matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, so this game is set to kick off at 4:25 East Coast time on September 15th. That'll be Sunday. All right, the line is currently at Kansas City -5.5. Over-unders at 47.5. On some books, you can get it at Kansas City -5. All right, so let's get into this matchup right now, right? So the Bengals have high expectations for the season, but they looked awful in the first game, man. The Bengals faced off against the New England Patriots, all right? And the offense only managed 10 points. Now, the defense was actually pretty strong, giving up only 16 points, but the offense just didn't give them much of a chance. Joe Burrow completed like 21 of 29 for 164 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Now, you got to remember that they have a new offensive coordinator right now. So this is a completely different system that they're running, regardless of the talent that they do have out there. Plus, they did lose Joe Mixon to Houston, I believe. So with all that being said, there's been a lot of change out there for the Cincinnati Bengals. On top of that, they actually got Joe Burrow, who actually made it through a whole preseason and made all the practices. But at the end of the day, you know, he's coming back from that surgery still. And if you look at how he performed last year, when he had a clean pocket, then the man was the man performed like he just performed last week. Like, he's honestly somebody that requires some type of pressure on him at a lot of times. Now, he didn't air the ball out, and they need him to push the ball down the field. Zach Moss was the top rusher, finishing with 9 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. On defense, they allowed too many big gains on the ground, and they're going to need a better showing in this next game if they're going to actually have a chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when you look at the Chiefs are looking to make another statement with another victory here. In the first game against the Baltimore Ravens, the Chiefs scored 27 points, and they ended up winning by 7 points. Now, Patrick Mahomes completed 20 of 28 passes for 291 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. It's almost a bit of a cheat code, kind of, with the Chiefs at wide receiver right now with this Xavier Worthy, man. I hope y'all actually watched that game. Like, Xavier Worthy is explosive. Very, very Tyreek Hill-like as far as how he looks as if he will perform within this offense. Okay? Now, and don't forget, now Rashee Rice also had a hell of a game too. He caught 7 passes for 103 yards. All right, now, like I said, rookie Xavier Worthy also finished with 2 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown. Now, he also had that run too. Worthy is so fast, is going to be looking for another big game. Isaiah Pacheco finished with 15 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. And in this game, the running game is going to need to be more consistent. In this game, the Chiefs defense is going to need to step up and really put the pressure on Joe Burrow. Now, if we remember correctly, all right, when the Bengals matched up with the New England Patriots last week, right? They pretty much just ran the ball down their throat. Like, literally, just ran the ball down their throat, guys. All right, and I honestly believe the Chiefs have the ability to execute that same type or same style game plan. Reason being is Isaiah Pacheco is a dog, and last time they played, man, he kind of went in on them, man. But let's get a little bit more in these matchup stats, right? So right now, okay, Cincinnati through one game is only averaging 10 points a game. That's the 28th worst offense in the NFL, whereas Kansas City's coming in middle of the pack, 12th defense in the NFL, giving up 20 points per game. Now you flip it, Kansas City's averaging through that one game 27 points per game. That's 11th best offense in the NFL, whereas Cincinnati is only giving up 16 points per game. That's the number 6 total defense in all the NFL. Now, Cincinnati had the worst yards, or not worst, like the second worst yards last week by only getting a total of 224 yards total. So that puts them as like the 30th offense in the NFL, but Kansas City gave up 452 yards last week, man. That's the worst defense in all of the NFL when you're talking about total yardage. Now, they were playing Lamar Jackson, and his dynamic movement and dynamic abilities really is what made up a lot of that 452. So I'm gonna scratch that a little bit since they playing Joe Burrow. But at the end of the day, you do have to pay heed to that. Now, as far as Kansas City's offense, like I said, they're the 11th ranked offense in the NFL. They had 353 yards, in Cincinnati gave up 290 yards, so they're middle of the pack. As far as third down conversions, Cincinnati on the third down completed 36.36% of their third down conversions, whereas Kansas City stopped 50% of the third down conversions versus Baltimore. So that puts Kansas City as the 25th worst defense against third down, and Cincinnati middle of the pack at 16. Now let's flip it. Kansas City converted 44.4% of their third downs, whereas Cincinnati went ahead and they allowed teams to convert 40% of their third downs. So that puts Kansas City in the middle of the pack at number 12 offense on third down, and Cincinnati at number 19 defense on third down. But when you look at this rushing, because this is where it comes down, this is what's going to be very important. So against the run, Cincinnati gave up a total of 170 yards last week on 39 rushes, 4.4 yards per attempt, right? And one touchdown. Kansas City only rushed for 72 yards last week, guys, which is like something that doesn't happen a lot with them, especially since Isaiah Pacheco's gotten there, but I'm definitely looking for him to have a big game in this week. All right, now let's flip the inverse. Kansas City's defense is 31st against the run. They gave up 185 yards. They did even worse than Cincinnati, man, but like I said, they were playing Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, literally the best tandem in the backfield that we've seen in forever. All right, so I take that with a grain of salt, right? And Cincinnati only rushed for 70 yards. That's the 30th worst rushing attack in the NFL. I know they got Chase Brown. I know that they got Zach Moss, but I don't think either one of those guys are true number ones, man. Like, I know we're getting away from running the ball in the NFL these days, but at the same time, if you can't run the ball, you ain't going to be able to execute an offense, especially if you got an offense like the Cincinnati Bengals offense with all these wide receivers. So people are going to play you for the pass. And if you can't run, man, you're cutting yourself off at the knees. You're really cutting yourself off at the knees. All right, so in the last 10 times that these two teams have been on the field, Cincinnati is 4-6 straight up, 3-6-1 against the spread, and 7 to the over and 3 to the under in the last 10 games these two teams, not these two teams have played, but the Cincinnati Bengals have played. They're literally on a horrible streak, man. Now, I understand that Joe Burrow wasn't in for a lot of these games because they had Jake Browning in, and they were going through a lot of turmoil last year trying to get things together, yada, yada, yada. But that just is not a good look at when you're talking about how you played against New England last week, okay, and you were at home, okay, and you still let New England do you like that. And then on top of that, man, they had Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, man. They ain't got no wide receivers out there. You know, if you didn't know they were going to run Ramon Stevenson, then I don't know what the heck you was thinking. Okay, you obviously don't know. I don't know. They just didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, let's get back on topic. So Kansas City in the last 10 games, they're 8-2 straight up, 7-3 against the spread, 4 to the over, 6 to the under. All right. They are on a 7-game cover streak and a 7-game win streak going back to last season throughout the playoffs. Kansas City has just been doing the darn thing, man. Like, you can't take nothing away from them, man. Like, they've been playing great ball, being coached by a great coach, and their system is just looking so efficient already, which is trouble for the rest of the league, man. All right, so in the last 10 times that these two teams have matched up, right, the Bengals run this series 7-3. They also run it 6-4 against the spread, and it's been 2 to the over, 8 to the under, right? So Kansas City's won 2 of the last 3 times that they played, and they've covered 2 of the last 3 times that they played. That goes back to December 4th of 2022. All right, and they've covered spreads of -7 and +2, all games in Kansas City. This game as well will be in Arrowhead in Kansas City, or what Cincinnati likes to call Burrowhead, which I thought was a horrible idea when they did it. But anyway, I digress. Let me give you some more stats, right? So when they played back on December 31st of 2023, okay, Isaiah Pacheco ran for 130 yards in that game. They had 132 total yards, but I know he ran for like 130 himself. All right, and Patrick Mahomes threw for 241, and that's without people that can catch the ball. Because last year he did not have anybody who could really catch the ball besides Kelsey and Rashee Rice. Okay, and now he actually has some people who can catch the ball. Big problems for Cincinnati. Big problem for Cincinnati, right? The last two times they did meet, both of them went under. They're actually on a 4-game under streak between these two teams. All right, going all the way back to January 30th of 2022. A formula for success for Cincinnati has got to be controlling the clock, stopping the run, and causing some turnovers, man. Like, if they can't get some of those things done, then it ain't gonna happen. So if you're looking at some of the trends for these two teams, the Cincinnati Bengals have hit the first half game total over in 7 of their last 8 away games, whereas Kansas City has hit the first half game total over in 13 of their last 22 games. All right, now Cincinnati Bengals have hit the second quarter game total over in 6 of their last 7 away games, whereas Kansas City has covered the third quarter spread in their last 3 games. Now, when you look at Cincinnati also has scored first in 9 of their last 14 games, whereas Kansas City has hit the second quarter money line in 2 of their last 3 games. Cincinnati also has hit the second half money line in 4 of their last 6 away games. All right, and Kansas City has hit the team total over in 2 of the last 3 games that they played. Kansas City has also hit the third quarter money line in 1 of the last 3 games they played. And Cincinnati has hit the second quarter money line in 2 of their last 3 away games. Cincinnati Bengals have hit the fourth quarter game total under in 11 of their last 18 games, man. So just to give y'all some good stuff, some good trends, some good stats, man. But now we're going to get into how these two teams have faced situationally so far this season. So we all know Bengals ain't covered last week and they ain't win. So they 0-1 straight up and 0-1 against the spread. Whereas Kansas City's 1-0. They covered, so they 1-0 as well against the spread. And then if you look at over-unders, Kansas City game went over, Cincinnati game went under last week. Why is that important? Because you got to understand how many points Cincinnati can actually put up. I honestly believe what we saw from Kansas City's defense last week isn't really truly indicative of what you're going to see from Kansas City on a regular basis. And I'm saying that because of the fact that, once again, they were playing Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Very, very dynamic backfield. Very hard to hold them two down and keep them contained. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson was snapping last week, man. But anyway, so this is why the Bengals have a chance to beat the Chiefs. The Bengals have won 9 of their last 10 games against opponents on a winning streak. The Chiefs have lost 3 of their last 4 Week 2 home games against AFC opponents. The Bengals have covered the spread in 5 of their last 6 road openers against AFC opponents. The Chiefs have failed to cover the spread in 3 of their last 4 September games as a home favorite against AFC opponents. The Chiefs have lost the first half in 3 of their last 4 September home games against AFC opponents. And the Chiefs have lost the first quarter in 4 of their last 6 games against teams that held a losing record. Wow. Yeah, that's a statement for you, man. It's definitely a statement for you. It gives the Bengals a decent chance if you look at the history, man. And Week 1 was all about overreactions. And I'm not going to overreact to the first game, even though I am going to take heed to that first game. Now, the Bengals offensive line was actually pretty strong, man. Like, Joe Burrow was not under pressure, like I was saying to you earlier, and I expect better play out of Joe Burrow in this game. The Chiefs' offense is definitely good, but their defense is going to struggle to slow down Joe Burrow and that team, especially now that you're looking at a team that doesn't have Snead anymore. Like it looked to me like Snead, like they missed him last week, man. You know, I'm just saying. We shall see. Only time will tell. But yeah. Now the Bengals could score at least 24 points, and if they can score at least 24 points, man, I think they could actually probably cover that 5.5, man. So, which way am I leaning on this game? I'm definitely on I mean, do I really trust the Cincinnati Bengals defense to stop Magic Mahomes? Do I trust Joe Burrow to stand up tall in the pocket and handle business? Like, this is a big question. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm leaning Bengals plus the 5.5. I would probably bump that up. You know what I mean? If I play that, I'm definitely gonna buy some points for the Bengals. I just think that's what you got to do. I really do like the under in this game. I think both defenses will show up and be a little bit better than they were last week. But at the same time, man, the Bengals gave up 16 points to the Patriots. So if I did do it under, I would probably purchase some points. But I'm going to wait and hold off on that, and I'm going to see how things play out a little bit closer to game time, and see if that begins to tick up a little bit, because I would love to get an over like 46 or something like that, man. You know, I could see a over 46 or over 45 or 40, over 46 or over 45. That 47.5 is a little high. So that's why I'm leaning. That's why I'm definitely on the under right now, though. All right, but you'll see in the comments, man. I hope this information was able to help you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. You know what I mean? I do respond to the comments. I have no problem going back and forth with any kind of dialogue y'all want to have. All right? Y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe, man. I'm going to see you at the window. Peace.